Grey's Anatomy Season 22 premiere. Heartbreak, Heroism and Hope. Grey Sloan Memorial is once again in chaos as Grey's Anatomy Season 22 premieres with a powerful and emotional episode titled, Only the Strong Survive. Picking up right after last season's shocking explosion, fans finally learn who made it out alive, and who didn't. The blast, caused by an acetylene tank leak, sends the hospital into disaster mode. While doctors Bailey Weber and Lucas escape with minor injuries, others aren't as lucky. Newlywed Dr. Atticus Lincoln is left crushed beneath debris, clinging to life. In a harrowing sequence, Bailey, Owen, and Ben risk everything to save him, performing emergency surgery without power or proper equipment. Against all odds, Link survives, barely, giving fans a much-needed ray of hope. But tragedy strikes elsewhere. Dr. Monica Beltran, beloved pediatric surgeon and fan-favorite character, dies heroically after guiding intern Jules through a high-stakes surgery on a young patient, all while trapped under fallen equipment. Her selfless final act cements her legacy, leaving viewers and characters devastated. The loss hits especially hard for Dr. Amelia Shepard, who had been developing a close bond with Beltran. Meanwhile, Joe Wilson's emotional breakdown over nearly losing Link delivers one of the episode's most gut-wrenching moments. Fans took to social media in shock, mourning Beltran's death and praising the emotional performances. Actress Camilla Luddington revealed filming the intense scenes was incredibly draining. The premiere's mix of tragedy and resilience sets the tone for a season full of healing, rebuilding, and rediscovering what it means to survive. With Meredith Grey back part-time at Grey Sloan, the doctors vow to do what they've always done best: rebuild, recover, and keep saving lives. Hey lovely viewers, welcome to our channel Grey's Anatomy Official. Your Grey's Anatomy official recap. The season premiere. It's true that we've had to wait all summer long, stressing about the various doctors left in peril after the acetylene explosion on the floor that occurred just as the closing credits of Grey's Anatomy Season 21 started rolling. And yes, of course, it's also true that Season 22 is kicking off with a premiere episode that will put you in some real emotional turmoil as we watch the direct aftermath of that explosion play out. But come on, isn't it at least a little nice that the Grey's Anatomy writers took some of the agony out of the equation by revealing that a whole bunch of potential victims were okay right at the top of the episode? Learning in the opening minutes of Only the Strong Survive that Miranda Bailey, Lucas Adams, Jules Millen, and Richard Weber, head laceration aside, were physically fine following the blast. That's a silver lining of sorts, right? It means we can focus all that stomach churning. Will they make it out alive angst on the doctors who have suffered grave injuries? Newlywed Atticus Lincoln and PED's superhero Monica Beltran. Honestly, only on Grey's Anatomy is it considered a win that there are just 2 doctors to worry about possibly dying. But worry no more. Let's find out their fates and what everyone else at Grey Sloan is up to in the Season 22 premiere. And you thought you had issues using the stairs. Honestly, nothing gets me more pumped up than watching the Grey Sloan docs band together to save the life of one of their own. It's equal parts terrifying and inspiring. Okay, mostly terrifying. Especially in a situation like Link's, in which not only is he gravely injured when a giant hunk of metal from the ceiling falls on top of him in or two, but because of the explosion, his friends don't have real access to the facilities or the tools they need to treat him. When Bailey, Owen, Ben, and Winston find Link crushed under that steel beam, it's bad. They learn that a piece of the ceiling is lodged under his clavicle and is most likely tamponating some serious bleeding. They need to remove it and get him to Seattle Presbyterian Hospital, where they can help him, but time is not on their side, and I hate to tell you this, but the elevators are out. The only option is to carry a bleeding, nearly unconscious Link down the stairs. Eventually, they realize that with the amount of blood Link's losing, they'll never have time to get him to the other hospital before he dies. They'll have to take him to a CCU lab and operate there. It's not ideal, but neither is death. Things are looking so bad at the moment that Bailey has Link call Joe, who is stressing out in the ER with Weber and waiting for news about her 36-hour husband and baby daddy. He doesn't want Joe anywhere near him since it could be bad for her and the babies, but when a guy with severe blood loss starts talking to you about where he keeps his password book, you know things are bad. Joe is beside herself as Link goes into cardiac arrest while on the phone and needs to be resuscitated. Joe Wilson has been through enough. I don't think there's one person out there who wants this woman to suffer more than she has. Now she has just married her best friend and is on the verge of being a mother of 4, and she's going to become a widow? I do not think so, Grace. I do not think so at all. The moment when Joe tells Weber that Link is the only family she has is gutting. It's very sweet when Weber responds that she knows that isn't true. But still, do not kill this man. Once the doctors get Link set up in the CCU, things look dicey. Who should walk in at that moment but Teddy and Amelia? Amelia, just the person you always want around in a crisis. She's already spiraling because she blames herself for Jenna Gatlin taking an entire hostage with an extremely flammable gas after Jenna's daughter Dylan ended up with locked-in syndrome following brain surgery. If only she had been a better doctor, Amelia laments. It's in no way accurate. Jenna is the villain here, but it's easy to see why Amelia is drowning in guilt. It's Winston who has to pull a hysterical Amelia out of Link's makeshift operating room and help her calm down. If she's the reason her son doesn't grow up with a father, just like she did, something she says has defined her entire life, she will never forgive herself. Thankfully, the worst does not come to pass. Everyone can breathe a sigh of relief. Except for Link, who has suffered a lung lac, among other things. In fact, it's these few undetectable injuries that add some tension in the CCU room for a little while. Link is clearly bleeding from an injury they are unable to see. Owen wants to do a thoracotomy and look around in his chest, but there's not much blood to give Link, and Teddy thinks it is just too risky. They should take him to Seattle President It's Ben, who, you'll remember, was recently fired from the residency program for not following Teddy's orders, who sticks up for Owen's plan. There's simply not enough time to transfer Link. And so, a thoracotomy it is. It winds up being the right choice. Owen finds the bleeding, Teddy stitches it up, and while Link will have a long road to recovery, he and Joe are reunited by the episode's end. And the cherry on top? Teddy is so impressed with Ben's work during this crisis that she reinstates him to the Gray Sloan residency program. Good news all around. Okay, good news all around may be a little premature. Link lives, but Gray Sloan does suffer a big loss. Jules and Beltran had been in a neighboring or operating on 6-year-old Parker when the explosion happened. Jules is okay, but Beltran is trapped by the surgical boom. It's crushed her pelvis, and there's no way they can lift it up themselves. The door is stuck shut, and while firefighters are attempting to get into the room, they're not fast enough. The anesthesiologist is dead, and while Parker has survived the initial explosion, he's still sedated on the table, and it'll be up to Jules, with an assist from an unnamed or nurse, to keep him alive. At first, Parker's oxygen level starts dropping, and Beltran has to keep Jules calm, remind her that she's a great doctor, and walk her through fixing his intubation. Once that problem is solved, it becomes clear that Parker is bleeding internally. Jules will have to perform her first solo surgery under some of the most stressful conditions imaginable. Once again, Beltran walks Jules through what she needs to do. She tells her about her own first solo surgery, a bowel resection on a superhero-obsessed boy named Demetrius. She was so scared. She almost passed out, but she got through it, and it all turned out great. The hug from Demetrius' mom afterward? Nothing beats it. That's when you feel like a real superhero, she tells Jules. With Beltran's support, Jules deftly gets through Parker's surgery. By the end of it, she's making her own surgical choices, and Beltran tells her that Jules doesn't even need her help anymore. She's got this. Jules thinks so too. Maybe Parker is her Demetrius, she says. But when she looks back at Beltran for confirmation, she sees that the ped surgeon is unconscious. By the time she gets over to her, Jules finds Beltran without a pulse. She holds her close to her, but there's nothing she can do. By the time the firefighters get through the door, Jules tells them that they're too late. Monica Beltran is dead. And if you think you're upset about that, wait until Winston has to tell Amelia. It turns out that she won't be able to shake those feelings of guilt, as unwarranted as they are, anytime soon. Quan and Lucas try to keep the miracle patient alive. It's no easy task. That miracle patient, of course, is Nora Young. She of having sex with Owen Hunt during the 48 hours his marriage was open fame. Not long before the explosion, Teddy and Winston basically built this woman a new aorta to save her life, and now she needs to be transferred to Seattle President. The move is tricky. She's still intubated, and if her arterial pressure gets too high, her new aorta could blow, killing her. The good news is that if it gets too low, she could also die. Oh wait, that's not good news at all. Quan and Lucas are left on their own to keep Nora alive. Like Jules, these two start to freak out when things go wrong, and it's up to them to make a life-or-death decision when Nora seems to be fighting her intubation. Whether it's dumb luck or intuition, probably a mix of both, the two decide to extubate and it works. Nora wakes up, her new aorta holds, and Quan and Lucas grow just a little more confident in their medical skills. It's a notable feat not just because of the medical procedures involved, but also because the entire time Quan has to pretend like he doesn't know Simone slept with some other guy the night before. That proves especially hard when Lucas shows up, declaring that despite their short breakup following the hostage situation, he and Simone are back together. Quan knows his friend has no idea about the other guy. That's awkward. It's even more awkward when Lucas finds Simone after all of the post-explosion craziness, and while he's so happy to see her, she informs him that she doesn't think it's a good idea to get back together. They said a lot of hurtful things to each other, and just because they had a near-death experience, it doesn't mean those things are erased. When he balks at the suggestion, she lays it on him. She had sex with someone else. Lucas doesn't even have words. He just walks away. Hey, speaking of walking away, now with Nora shipped out of Grey Sloan, we can get a good look at the rubble of Owen and Teddy's marriage. At the end of last season, when Teddy said she was done, she meant it. She meant it so much that when Owen, who was really affected by witnessing how deep Joe and Link's friendship is, asks her if there's even a shot that they can go back to who they were before as best friends, she says she doesn't know. Actually, she says, I don't even know who I am anymore, which still points to a big ol' nope. Can you believe this was some people's first day at Grey Sloan? Welcome to Grey Sloan, formerly Seattle Grace Mercy Death, new interns. On the one hand, their first day as baby surgeons is pretty scary and a lot is asked of them. But on the other, they do get to spend it working alongside Meredith Grey, who does in fact use an 4-pole to break into the clinic so that she and the new interns can start helping some of the patients who have been kicked out of the hospital. If that doesn't hype you up to start your career in medicine, what will? One intern, Danny Spencer, has an especially memorable day after she realizes that getting slammed into by a gurney during the explosion when she was secretly on the floor to get a selfie in an or for her uber-proud father isn't some minor injury. She winds up needing surgery after realizing she is bleeding internally. Armed with very little more than her own finger, Meredith pulls some snazzy surgical moves in the clinic with help from Simone and her one-night stand who will never end, Dr. Bryant, and they wind up keeping Danny alive until they get her a bed inside the hospital. Danny may be embarrassed, but as Meredith tells her, one of the biggest ways to survive intern year is to find a way to stand out, and she has definitely done that. She also tells the young doctor, who is worried now that the Grey Sloan or floor is, well, for all intents and purposes, gone at the moment, that ORs don't make someone a surgeon, the teachers and patients do. Look at Meredith Grey, spitting out lessons even when she's mid-crisis. She'll have to keep that positive attitude going for the next few weeks as Grey Sloan picks itself back up after such a shock. Now that Meredith has agreed to come back to Seattle during the summers and take on surgeries, she'll be more of a fixture at the hospital. That will be important since she and Weber survey the damage to the operating rooms and realize just how bad it is. They won't be able to take on surgeries for weeks. Weber might be at a loss for what to do next, but Meredith isn't. We're going to do what we always do, she tells her mentor. We're gonna rebuild. Grey's Anatomy Season 22 premiere shocks fans with major character death. A devastating hospital explosion has claimed a major life at Grey Sloan Memorial. The Season 22 premiere of Grey's Anatomy confirmed the death of Dr. Monica Beltran, a fan-favorite character. The episode aired on October 9th, resolving the cliffhanger from last season's finale. The incident has left the show's audience reeling. The blast was caused by an acetylene tank leak. It created chaos throughout the hospital, trapping several doctors. According to ABC, the narrative choice marks a significant shift for the long-running medical drama. This event sets a dramatic tone for the new season. Explosion aftermath leaves Link fighting for survival. Dr. Beltran was crushed by falling surgical equipment during the explosion. Despite her critical injuries, she guided an intern through a life-saving procedure. Her character ultimately succumbed before emergency crews could reach her. Her death concludes a brief but impactful storyline. Meanwhile, Dr. Atticus Lincoln suffered severe chest trauma. He flatlined at one point during emergency surgery. Veteran doctors Miranda Bailey and Owen Hunt led the effort to save him. His survival provides a glimmer of hope amid the tragedy. Fan and cast reactions to the tragic plot twist. The death of Dr. Beltran is particularly poignant due to her budding romance with Dr. Amelia Shepard. Fans expressed their heartbreak on social media platforms immediately following the broadcast. Many felt the show cut short a promising relationship arc. The cast also found the premiere emotionally taxing. Camilla Luddington, who plays Dr. Jo Wilson, admitted to dreading filming the intense episodes. She described the experience as requiring a deep breath to confront. This behind-the-scenes insight highlights the episode's demanding nature. The shocking premiere ensures Grey's Anatomy remains a powerhouse of dramatic television. This major character death will have lasting repercussions throughout Season 22. The show continues to master the art of the unexpected twist. Thought you'd like to know? Which character died in the Grey's Anatomy Season 22 premiere? Did Link survive the Grey's Anatomy explosion? What caused the explosion at Grey Sloan Memorial Hospital? How are fans reacting to the character death? Will there be more fallout from the explosion? Thanks for watching this video. Please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up.